Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today I have the good fortune to be joined by Amanda Holmes. Amanda, thank you so much for joining us.
Such a pleasure.
All right, now we're going to go back in time a little bit. I don't know if you remember, but you and I actually met years ago when I was on the speaking circuit. And I think the first time we met was at a Speaking Empire event.
Oh my gosh. Wow, you're really taking me back.
Yeah, so let's go a little bit further back in time, but let's start today. So right now, you are up to some really incredible things. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing now, and then we'll go back to how you got started, because you've had an interesting journey.
Do you want me to talk about where it came from real quick so that those that don't know or are unfamiliar can know, and then what I've done?
Sure,
now?
If you want to go in chronological order, that's fine.
Okay, it helps me. So my father originally invented 12 ways to double sales, the ultimate sales machine, working for a billionaire by the name of Charlie Munger. He doubled the sales of 9 different companies for Charlie, all within 12 to 15 months, and several of them doubled multiple years consecutively. So he realized that he had this system for doubling sales. Then he put it into the ultimate sales machine. It became a bestseller 15 years ago. We've created 70 different training products, sell over 100 countries. We've assisted 80 of the Fortune 500 and 250,000 businesses worldwide. And I spent the last 4 years writing the new edition of the Ultimate Sales Machine, and it also became a bestseller. So that's where we're at today. But in the exchange of my father to me, my father had passed away 10 years ago, and I stepped in as CEO at 26. So it's now been 8 years since I've been CEO, and we doubled sales last year, more than doubled sales last year, and have continued to double over the years. And it's been a lovely ride.
Yes, and I had the good fortune to get to interact with your late dad. Absolutely.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. Brilliant. And he had one heck of a career. In addition to doing such amazing work with Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett, he also worked with some folks who have we've been a part of, like Tony Robbins, Russell Brunson. One of his things he's most famous for, arguably, is his Best Buyer Dream 100 strategy that we have taken to the 21st century and have executed for our clients for years. So I would love to hear about the new edition of the Ultimate Sales Machine, which is the original, is one of my top 10 business books of all time. So let's talk a little bit about the amazing work that you're doing in the world now.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I'd love to hear all of that. We'll have to schedule another call and talk about that at another time. But yes. So my father originally came up with the Dream 100 working for Charlie Munger, and he was given a list of 2,200 prospects, and they just said, okay, go cold call all these people. He realized that 95% of the revenue was only purchased by 167. So instead of going after all 2,200, he just laser focused into 167, which is the basis of the Dream 100 for those that aren't familiar, right? Going after a smaller number of better buyers is cheaper than going after all buyers, and you can actually double your sales faster being laser focused. And we've continued that on. I will tell you some of the biggest mistakes that people make when trying to implement Dream 100s, as I've watched that evolve over the last 8 years. Number one is people will think that a Dream 100 has to be cold leads only. I have to go buy a list. I have to go out and market. I have to research them online. But I will do an exercise, and I challenge all of you right now that's listening, go on your contacts of your phone, set your timer for 2 minutes. Don't look at your email. Don't look at your social. Don't look at your text messages, and just scroll through your phone and see. Every time you find somebody that could be a prospect, I want you to write down their name and see how many leads you can generate just from your freaking phone, because it's 5 to 25 times more expensive to get a new client than it is to keep a current one. We are always doing a Dream 100. So that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make. They feel it's so far away when really it's upselling who you already have, or that big whale that you wanted to get, but you haven't. I don't know if you want me to give the other two, or if you want to go to the next topic.
No, please go right ahead. You're dropping golden nuggets. Yeah, let's go.
Okay, I love it. Okay, I love it. So the second biggest mistake that people make is that they think that Dream 100 means that they have to go after 100 clients. It depends on where you are. If you're just starting off, you could change your entire world with one potential client. We had a consulting client, or one of our past consultants, Tom Schaff, was working with a client that had 969 clients. So instead of, after they analyzed those 969, they realized that 91% of their revenue was purchased by only 13. So Tom actually came back to the client and said, you should fire 950 of your clients. And they looked at him like, are you kidding me? Absolutely not. They were 60 million in revenue at that time. They said, fire 950 of them and go after this 4 clients. Instead, they went after one, and they doubled their sales with one client. That one client brought in $100 million. How are we leveraging every relationship that we have? So who is that one person that could change your world? I've even been challenging people. Can you find a target 12? Can we start there? Because for me, when I first stepped into the role of CEO, I had to find a way to re-engage people into our world. So I did an event, a virtual event. I got 12 influencers in my space, the biggest people in my world, all to come on and to educate people for 6 hours, and it was free. I generated 30,000 leads without spending a dime on advertising. So I didn't need a ton of people. I only needed 12. So can you go after a smaller number? And then once you get more advanced, yeah, you can add and have more Dream 400, whatever it may be. So don't be intimidated by the 100. And then the third I'll leave for the book. Get the new edition of the book, and it's in chapter 6, Dream 100.
I love that you are teasing our folks to go get the book. We insist that they go get it anyway. And I love that you're sharing 2 of the most common mistakes. We see those from folks all the time. You are absolutely right. So obviously there's more than just that strategy to double your sales. We don't want you to, again, give away them all, because we want people to go get the book, but can you share 1 or 2?
Absolutely. One of the hardest chapters for me was actually chapter 7, which is the 7 musts of marketing. So 15 years ago, the average company would be on 7 different marketing mediums to reach their prospects, on average 7. Today, we are on 13 different marketing mediums with 5 social media platforms and 3 paid advertising. We're doing double the amount of work, and it's so hard to penetrate through the market because, okay, 15 years ago, you would have to see a brand, a consumer would have to see your brand 7 times before it gets lodged in their head of, oh yeah, I remember this. Today, it's on average 500 times they have to see your brand to remember it, because there's so much information out there. It's absurd. So now that the 7 musts of marketing became the quadruple amount of marketing, it's really about getting hyper-focused on who, right, with the Dream 100, and then what are you saying to penetrate that market, to speak directly to them, especially this next year. One of the biggest trends that's affecting businesses is how can you go at scale and yet still be very personalized? How can we use AI to be personalized? Because people want to feel that you're speaking directly to them. So, I don't know if we have time to go into this whole concept of education-based marketing and how
you were going to segue, you're segueing perfectly into what my next question was going to be.
Okay.
I remember when your dad's company used to do these research briefs.
Yes.
You could write a large check as a client, and they would prepare like the stadium speech with all this
Yes.
research about what's wrong with the industry and everything that would position you in a category of one.
Yeah.
Is that where
Look
you're
at
heading?
you.
Can we talk a little
That's
bit
right.
about
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Okay. So majority of companies do what we call the me-we syndrome. They just talk about, hey, I'm the best. I'm different from the rest. My product's the best. Nobody else pales in comparison, right? So what we have to do, imagine that you were in a stadium full of your prospects. What would actually keep them in their seats long enough to hear what you have to say? What would be that title? Now, normally when I ask people today, 15 years ago, when my father was asking this question, everybody was just saying, well, I've been in business for 30 years and I've helped this many people and I'd love to talk to you about whatever I provide, right? Today, we're getting a little bit more savvy because we have more content marketing out there. So there's more educational, like we had a client that increased their sales by 3,546%. They were selling high-end condos out of Dubai. So instead of talking about we have granite countertops and ocean views, and we'd love you to see these condos, they started leading their education with why wealthy CEOs are at risk of heart disease, diabetes, and premature death, and what you can do about it. It's like, can you imagine a real estate broker coming to you and saying, I'd like to talk to you about this? Like, everyone resisted. But when we actually implemented it, here's the difference. Now, everybody that's listening right now, I want you to draw a diagram of a triangle, or you can download chapter 4, which is free online. You just Google chapter 4. So you draw a triangle. Now, you want to draw a little line at just the top 3% of that triangle. And I want you to write buy now. So at any given time, whether you're posting on Facebook, whether you're doing ads, whether you're at a lunch and learn or at a networking event or at a conference and you're speaking, roughly 3% will be in the buying now category. Oh, it's blurred. It's just not going to show. Okay. Then I want you to do another line at 7% of that pyramid. 7%, you want to write open to it. So they're open to, maybe they're researching about you or product or service like yours. Then I want you to divide the last bit of that pyramid into 3 chunks that are the same. So it's 30%, 30%, and 30%. So 30% think that they're not interested in what you have to provide. The next 30% think that they are definitely not interested. And then the last 30% think that they're not interested. So 90% of that buyer's pyramid is not interested in you, your product, or service. So what you have to do, like the stadium pitch, is you want to educate those that aren't thinking about you to lead them into the buying now category. Because right now, if you're only going after those that know of and need your product or service, you are competing with all of your competition just for that small 3%. So we want to expand that and get 9 times more from every dollar you're spending and every cold call you're making and every cold email you're sending by just talking about what's keeping them up at night. I can also flip that and tell you about how that framework should work so that you're the only logical conclusion. Is that okay? Do we have time?
We do. I will make time.
Okay, so because 40% of content online actually hinders the probability of a sale today, because we're just thinking so tactically, oh, I've written an email, oh, I've posted on Facebook, oh, I've put up an ad. We're not thinking strategically about the messaging that we're doing. So even if we are educating online, we're sending them to our competition. So this is the framework that we've used for the last 30 years. And I was afraid to share it actually originally, because I was like, this is our secret sauce. Like you were saying, people pay top dollar to be able to have us create this for them. But I revealed it in the new edition of the book. So I'll give it to you right now. So you take that buyer's pyramid and you flip it upside down. So the first thing that you want to cover is global pains. We want to talk about trends. What have happened over time? I can share with you that everybody's so fearful about the recession. Oh, what's coming? 69% of Americans feel that a recession will happen over the next 12 months. But let me debunk and mystify this for a moment. We've had 48 recessions since the history of the United States. And before the Great Depression, we had a recession every 2 to 3 years. We can do this. It is not the end of the world. But because media feeds on the fact that we have to give them negativity, they have to make it seem like we will just spontaneously combust. It's like we will blow up because of this recession. So, right, what am I doing right there? I'm showing that I am an expert, not on just what's happening now, but over time. So it gives me the ability to set myself up completely different from my competition. Then we get into target pains. So what's actually keeping you up at night? That Zaya example, when we talked about heart disease, diabetes, and premature death, we talked about stress and how that the likelihood of you getting a stroke increases by 25%. The likelihood of you getting cancer if you're not sleeping increases by 200%. I'm talking about what they're thinking about, because billionaires, the few things that we realized when we did research, they weren't caring about a second home in Dubai. They were thinking about, I'm working too much. Everyone around me is having health issues. I might die. I'm not at home for my kids. But we couldn't talk to them about that until we did some research to analyze and give them some third-party market data so we could come to them as an expert. Because if you can talk about their pain, the pain of your prospect, better than they can articulate themselves, they believe that you have the solution. You've earned the right to give them a solution. So the next piece is solution. So you want to solve just a piece of their pain, enough for them to feel, I haven't even given you my credit card yet, and you're already solving parts of my pain. You know me better than anybody else. You're solving my pains. I'm so interested in what you have to serve. I don't even know what you sell. Let me find out what you sell, right? And then we have to get to resetting of the buying criteria, which is the difference between content marketing and what my father taught, education-based marketing. Because you could give them all of this content and never teach them how to go to you and nobody else. So you have to educate them on how to be a better buyer of your product or service. So the 5 things to consider before buying a product or service like mine. And each one of those things that you educate them on should be something that leads to you. What are your unique selling propositions? And just reverse engineer them so that it leads to you. So that you haven't even mentioned what you sell yet, and they're already writing a check. They're like, I'm ready. I can't do anything else other than you, because everybody else is just talking about that last step. That is how we have helped more companies become number one than anybody else. You can get it in chapter 4 for free, or you can pick up the book for just $17. I know I went over, but I was trying to drop bombs here for you, Seth.
You certainly did. You over-delivered for sure, Amanda. Where can our folks go to get the book?
You can either get it on Amazon or ultimatesalesmachine.com. Ultimatesalesmachine.com gives you bonuses.
Well, then everybody, since it's already a bestseller and you don't need the additional buys on Amazon, should go direct to ultimatesalesmachine.com. This has been Seth Greene for Sharkpreneur with Amanda Holmes. Amanda, thank you so much. I know your time is incredibly valuable. We greatly appreciate you spending some of it with us.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody, for watching or listening. We will talk to you or see you next time.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level, but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.